speaker for today, the amazing and inspirational Agnes from sorry, and we've got some amazing speakers coming up. So please do keep stay, listen, and take a home as well if you want to.
Hello everyone. Hello. First of all, what an amazing turnout. You know, our children matter. And I always say, you know, I didn't fall into this work because I was looking for a cause. Unfortunately, my children were being failed by the system. I have a daughter who's dyslexic. I have a son who was diagnosed with autism last year. But that fight started from when he was 1 year old. He's in year 2 or year 4 now. Sorry, I've got 2 boys. And the fight from age 1 to age 7, it's a bit of a long time, isn't it? Just last week I got a call from CAMS, and I've been waiting for an ADHD diagnosis, and they called me and I was like, finally they're on the phone, and they were like, we're really sorry. We're just calling you to let you know we haven't forgotten you, and it's going to be another year since we'll be able to see you. By that time, my son will be in year 5. So I just want to contextualise that to say that already we have a broken system. It shouldn't be taking children who started the journey from before they were in nursery to be able to have a full assessment to be in year 5 or year 6, right? So to all the parents out there that are fighting, I just want to kind of let you know that I'm with you, I'm in the fight with you. But we're gathered here today, I sound like it's a wedding. It's going to be a wedding for them because there will be a holy matrimony by the time we finish with them. But we are gathered here today to fight for our children. You know, how you treat children, how you treat the most vulnerable people in society, it says a lot about us, right? And it's a generation, and I always say this is not a SEND issue. This is not a SEND issue. If your child is in school and they're not getting the support that they need, it affects every single child in that classroom, right? So even the way that it's kind of fragmented at the moment to make it like it's SEND parents and it's SEND families, that's not right. It's all families. So let's start with that. And we don't want a society where our children are failed and it's kicked down the line. The Institute of Fiscal Studies has told us what parents already know. So I don't know if you saw, just on Friday there was another report, I would say, that came out, telling us what we already know, that the SEND system is broken. Costs are spiralling, provision is patchy, and schools, councils, parents and children, we're all at breaking point. I want to hear if we're at breaking point. Are we at breaking point? Yeah. We don't have any more capacity for this. But it's not new. It's been going on for nearly a decade. The crisis has been building, and the government says it wants reform. Have you ever heard of a reform where we just take away the provision? They don't want to bring us in the room, right? And then they say, well, actually, if you can't count it, because they've taken away our EHCPs, they've taken away all the provision that they're meant to give us, then actually it doesn't exist. Have you ever heard of reform like that? And we're saying we're not going to stand for that, right? I'm not saying that EHCPs are the best, but at the moment they are the only safeguard that we have, right? They're far from perfect, and we know this, but for many families, they're the only legal safeguard that we have. And the law in the UK states that it's the family's responsibility to ensure that every child, our children, get a good quality education. That's actually the law. So if you take away the ability for our children to actually have a good quality education, then you're putting on us to literally break the law. And we're not standing for it. Are we standing for it? No! Underfunding is the crisis, right? And that's what we really need to be talking about. It's the underfunding that has hollowed out our schools. It's underfunding that leaves teachers unsupported. It's underfunding that forces parents into endless battles. And when government blames schools or parents, it's misdirection. The real issue is a failure to invest in children, in staff, and in capacity and in care. So there's so many different examples. Schools are closing up and down the country. Teachers are actually leaving in droves the education system, because that's not what they signed up to. They signed up to help our children, but they're not being supported to do so, and they're having to leave. So this is impacting everyone. And there's a real human impact, right? We know that children with adverse childhood experiences are more likely to be excluded, more likely to enter the criminal justice system, and more likely to struggle with mental health as adults. Families with no recourse to public funds face a double penalty. And this weekend we've seen some of the largest protests against immigration, and as a child of immigrants, I'm here to really stand up for that. No child, right, deserves to not be supported, right?
And the more it gets left, the more harder.
The more, exactly, it's like building a house. If the foundations of a house is rocky, the house inevitably is going to fall down. And we have parents who are going through the immigration process as already right now, but they're too scared to be able to stand up for their children because of fear of social services. And that can't happen. And it means that those children are being failed, right? And we know that those children, there's a clear gap between the school to prison pipeline. And I'm here and I'm saying, we're not standing for it. We will stand up for every single child, right? And there is, and again, I'm not going to be shy to say that there is also a disproportionate impact when we're talking about race and intersectionality, right? We know that when children from diverse backgrounds, black backgrounds, people that look like me, oftentimes are already scapegoated in terms of their behaviour. So at the moment, my child does have an EHCP, but that's because I fought for that, right? But a lot of parents who don't know what an EHCP is, who are already in school and they're told that their child is bad, their behaviour is unruly, and they're kicked out of school, those children are being failed. And we're not going to have that. Are we going to have that? No, exactly. There's no such thing as a bad child. There are systems that make our children not be able to enjoy school. That is correct. But children are not born bad, and we're not going to stand for that, right? So what needs to change? We need to build capacity. We need to invest in trained teachers, special schools, and support in mainstream classrooms, and also the right for parents to be able to educate their children at home. We also need to intervene early and support children before problems escalate. We need to make accountability real, outcomes for children, and not endless paperwork. I didn't know I needed a PhD to try and look for an EHCP. It's hard work, and I feel like it's done on purpose, right? Every child should have a holistic education, and I'm tired of the different battles that I've had to face. And then there's another hurdle, and another hurdle, and another hurdle. We know what you're doing, and we're not going to have it, right? We need to make accountability real. Outcomes, I've already said that part, so next. We need to address intersectionality. We need to not be afraid to talk about race, to talk about poverty and immigration, and that must be at the heart of reform and not ignored at the edges. Any reform to send to education must take the most vulnerable into account, and we need to put families in the room. I can't believe I have to say this. Parents must be partners and not problems. Decisions made without families are decisions that are doomed to fail. So the call to action: we are not asking for special treatment. We are fighting for the ordinary rights of every child to feel safe in school, supported in learning, and free to dream. Ordinary should not mean impossible. Ordinary should not mean waiting years for an EHCP or a diagnosis. Ordinary should not mean watching your child excluded instead of supported, and also their mental health and well-being severely impacted. Ordinary should mean timely help, cultural understanding, and a system that believes in every child's potential. So today and every day, we fight for ordinary, we fight for dignity, we fight for justice, and we fight for every child's right to thrive. Thank you.